Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to visit New York. I think it kind of started with like fashion. You know, if you could stand out there, you could stand out anywhere. It was always on my bucket list. I used to watch shows like Sex and the City, How to Make It in America. And I would always feel like a little part of me just belonged in that city. It was my dream to go there, to live there, and I just felt like that was the place that would accept me. Fashion is no longer like my main interest, but I still feel the same way about New York when it comes to street photography. Whenever I take pictures in the city, I'm just like not capturing the type of photographs that I envisioned. You know, there's no one walking around with acne bags or wearing, you know, Raf Simons or limited releases. There's no one enjoying like outdoor activities. Detroit's a very like car-driven city, and again, I just felt like the people like in this city didn't understand me. If there was like a puddle of water on the ground, people in Detroit wouldn't jump over it, they'd walk around it. If it was raining outside, they wouldn't necessarily have an umbrella. They'd be like, oh, my car's parked down the street, so I don't need an umbrella. And it was really hard for me to kind of capture the photographs that I initially enjoyed. I always told myself that if I had the chance to visit New York, my photography would be way better. People would enjoy it much more, and as you guys know, recently I had the chance to. Now, I'm not making this video to say that my expectations of New York weren't met. They definitely were. But in a way, I was kind of let down. I'm not sure if it was the fact that I was trying to photograph and be a tourist, or if I just have first-time jitters. I'm not gonna lie, like the idea of New York kind of being that hustle and bustle city, kind of being that tough city, did make me a little bit timid when it came to like photographing, you know, strangers on the street. There was also a little part of me that felt like I couldn't take a photograph that I could capture back at home. It's kind of like when you go on vacation and you want to eat somewhere. Like, you necessarily don't want to eat at a restaurant that you have in your own city. You know, if there's a Shake Shack in Detroit, I'm definitely not going to go eat at the one in New York. So when I would see somebody like smoking or just walking past a wall or just engaging in normal activity, I felt like I couldn't take that picture. Like, I wasn't in New York to take normal pictures. I was in New York to take extravagant pictures that only happened in New York, that were only keepers, that were only bangers, and that mindset, that thought process really ruined my experience. The idea of just like going to New York and documenting everyday people, everyday action seemed like a waste of time. And I think when I got back home, I just appreciated my city a lot more. I feel like when we look at photographs, we don't factor in context. We just factor in the story that we made up. You know, a person walking down the street in New York with a bottle of water may not be an interesting photo, but somebody walking down the street with a jug of water in Flint might be. You know, we have to factor in our environment and where we're at to really decide if the photograph is good or not. You know, maybe somebody smoking in New York isn't a big deal. It happens every day. But, you know, finding somebody in the alley who's smoking or doing some weird activity is like extremely rare here. And just kind of being in that city made me appreciate that. Being in New York helped me realize that like back home, I'm not going to be able to create an image of somebody walking down the street with their shirt above their head, or I may not find an old lady in Louis Vuitton gear giving me the middle finger, because people don't wear that here. But what I will find are images of hardworking people, people who are actually from Detroit and not just visiting. The fact that I can capture a little bit of isolation in my picture and have some negative space is something that's extremely rare and something that I take for granted and that I now appreciate. Visiting New York was everything that I thought it was going to be. It was an amazing experience. I can't wait to go back, but it also made me just appreciate Detroit, you know, home, so much more. So when I make this kind of content, what I'm trying to get people to do is just be excited about their backyard. You know, we take everything around us for granted. We're not excited about it. You know, you're not excited about the people in your city because you see them every day, but that's what makes them exciting. You know, that's what makes it fun. I had this theory that if I visited somewhere else, I would be better and I would be able to capture more images, and maybe to a certain extent I'll have some things that are, you know, more unique or different, but there's nothing like being at home. There's nothing like knowing your backyard. There's nothing like being able to go out and just effortlessly create, not putting a bunch of pressure on yourself and not feeling the need to tell yourself that you have to make an amazing image because you spent a bunch of time, money, and resources to get to a destination. Like that kind of pressure makes street photography unenjoyable. And even though I do want to travel more, I definitely want to take more great photographs at home. With that being said, I do want to upload part 3 of this New York series. I didn't know if I was going to post this or not. I didn't want to bombard you guys with a bunch of New York based photography to the point where it just got boring, where it was just a POV. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this. This is the last part of the series. I created most of these images in the morning before I left. So yeah, let's start the POV.
Job. All them nights I stayed up, trying to get my cake up. Tell my girl don't wait up. Straight up, we can't take no pay cuts. Nobody gon' play us. All these niggas made up. Straight up, all them nights I stayed up, trying to